Why is it considered a sin? Yes, a sin in certain organizations and among certain groups of professionals for a CPA to ask a question. You know what I'm talking about. You're sitting there taking in a lot of technical information, and there are just certain things you need clarified. And not only do you have a question, there are likely other people involved who have the same question, yet everyone's afraid they're going to take some kind of reputational hit if they speak up. Why? I've given this a lot of thought, and there are a couple of things I want to focus on. First, CPAs are afraid to ask questions simply because they might look dumb. Now, nobody likes to look dumb, but for CPAs, it goes even deeper than that. You see, we're in a knowledge-based profession, and so the thinking goes that a large part of our value lies in other people's perceptions of our professional knowledge and skill. And so the fear is that by asking a question, CPAs think that they may not only look dumb, but they may actually decrease their own professional standing and even their earning power in the process. And that's a big deal. The second thing CPAs worry about when it comes to asking questions is they'll be considered lazy. You see, the old school thinking goes something like this. I'm your manager, and therefore I'm both important and extremely busy. And before you ask me a question, I expect you to exhaust every possibility of either finding or figuring out the answer yourself. Then, and only then, can you deign to approach me to ask a question. Those are terrible reasons not to ask questions. Why? Let's start with the first one, that you might be dumb. So let me get this straight. You got a 4-year degree taking a demanding curriculum, then you got a graduate degree in accounting or tax, maybe even an MBA or a law degree. You then pass a CPA exam, and on top of all of that, you have meaningful professional experience under your belt. Now, taking all that together, you're asking me to believe that you're dumb? Sorry, I'm just not buying it. Now, there may be areas where you don't have professional experience or expertise. Okay, fine, something may be new to you, or you may be missing information, or the data and information you already have isn't clear. And finally, maybe I, as your manager, haven't explained things clearly enough. Wow, there's an idea. My management and communication skills, or lack thereof, could actually be part of your performance issues. Now, I say that a bit tongue-in-cheek, but seriously, if you don't have a manager that's not willing to at least consider that they may be part of your performance issues, then that's a problem. Now, there may be other issues that are real, that are affecting your performance, but it's highly unlikely that being dumb is one of them. Now let me address the second concern, that you're lazy if you ask a question. It's true that I don't know anything about your work ethic. Maybe you are lazy, or maybe you work insanely hard, or maybe you fall somewhere in between. Again, obviously, I can't say for sure. But one thing I can say for sure is that when you're trying to get things done accurately, efficiently, and on time, it's incredibly important to be able to ask questions as part of the collaboration process. What scientific evidence do I have to support that? Well, naturally, the World of Warcraft. Really, I'm not making this up. The authors of the book, The Power of Pull, came across this story in their research. Now, some background, World of Warcraft, it's what's called a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, and it was first released in 2004. And by 2007, the creators were concerned that the game might be getting stale for more advanced players, so they created a campaign called The Burning Crusade. It consisted of 10 levels of off-the-charts difficulty, and before it was released, the developers thought it would take several months and maybe even up to a year before anybody successfully completed them. So how long do you think it took? A 24-year-old French player that goes by the name of Gullerbone did it in 28 hours. And in case you're wondering, he did it in 28 continuous hours, and yes, he also built sleep into his plan. That's crazy. How in the world did he achieve that level of performance? And that, achieving radically accelerated productivity and innovation, was essentially what the authors of The Power of Pull were studying. And what they found was that this level of performance becomes possible when individuals access what the authors referred to as pull platforms. In English, that meant people using digital technology, email, instant messaging, virtual communications, social media connections, and so forth to connect to the right people who had the right information and experience at the right time, with the right time being defined as when that support and expertise was needed. So reverting back to our World of Warcraft example, how specifically did Gullarbone complete all of those levels in just 28 hours? First of all, he was extremely skilled and an accomplished player in his own right. While definitely an important factor, that alone was not by far how he was able to accomplish his extraordinary feat. In the game, he was a member of a guild, and a highly skilled and experienced group of members of this guild committed to a plan to do whatever was necessary to advance Gullarbone through the levels. If he needed a certain weapon, he got it. If he needed to be healed after a battle, it was done. If he needed gold, it was his. If he had a question or he needed advice, it was instantly available to him from the very best specialists in the guild in that particular area. Did you catch that last part? If Gullarbone was ever blocked in his progress, then he got the help he needed from his team. He collaborated, he asked questions, and he got answers. And combining this help with his own skill and effort, he was able to successfully complete his mission in a time frame that developers had thought was laughably impossible. From a scientific standpoint, I could go on to talk about Angela Duckworth's grid equation, or the principles of operational flow as laid out by Eliyahu Goldratt in his book, The Goal. I'm going to save that for another time and just say this for now. Asking questions isn't dumb or lazy when it comes to productivity. It's the opposite. When individual contributors ask questions and when managers listen to and answer those questions, then the culture and camaraderie of the team improves and productivity measurably accelerates. So what's the practical application of all of this? If you have a question, speak up. And as you get answers, then watch your productivity, your professional skill, and your career take flight. Also, if you find yourself in a situation where questions are welcomed and even encouraged, don't underestimate how valuable it is to be in that kind of situation with those kinds of people. If you're a leader, recognize that it doesn't come naturally to CPAs to ask questions for all of the reasons I covered at the beginning. Do all you realistically can to be responsive yourself, as well as to create an environment where questions can be asked and answered, because that's a huge part of accelerating productivity, enhancing camaraderie, and achieving organizational goals. Finally, what if you desperately want to ask questions and to get help, but you consistently find that you're in a dysfunctional and even toxic situation where it really is practically considered a sin to ask a question? If that's the case, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be tough sledding. Even if you have a lot of potential, if you can't ask questions and you can't get timely help, you're going to struggle to get things done. And all of that is going to be reflected in your performance and the kind of day-to-day experience you're having at work. And if that's the case, you're going to have some difficult decisions to make. If you found this video to be helpful, please like it, leave a positive comment, recommend it to others who might benefit, and subscribe to my channel by clicking on my profile picture in the screen that follows. If you're a tax leader and you're interested in CPE tailored to your needs and organization, then feel free to contact me directly. Thank you for watching.